Hi friends, welcome back to Ignite with She. Courage doesn't always mean walking on the runway or standing on stage. Sometimes it could mean getting out of bed when everything else feels heavy. Today I want to share a part of my stories about the few years I was struggling with depression while finishing my PhD. When I was a PhD candidate, I thought I was on the right path for graduation. I passed my candidacy exam and I finished many projects, but all of those projects were confidential projects funded by private companies like petroleum company, pharmaceutical, and biotech. So I could not publish any of them. Without any publication, I could not graduate. So I went ahead to create my own research projects and even found investors to fund the projects. I did some preliminary experiments to show that I had the method and the technique to analyze the products or the samples of interest. One particular company was very impressed, and they were so impressed that they actually funded that project. They funded almost half of the research lab. That was about 10 to 15 graduate students. My name was not on that project. So naturally, I confronted my professor and he gave credits elsewhere, and when I challenged him, he didn't like it. He told me that our trust was broken, and he asked me to leave the program. He asked me to graduate with a master, even though I was a PhD candidate. He asked me to graduate that summer, which was 2 to 3 months later. Not only that, he asked me to hand over all my research findings and methods to one of his favorite graduate students, who was 2 to 3 years more senior than me. Naturally, I refused, and that just gave him another opportunity, another excuse to try to kick me out of the program. While all this was happening in school, something painful also happened at home. A few years earlier, my mother gave me an ultimatum about a month before my college graduation to give up my education or to be disowned. As you know, I chose my graduation, I chose my education, and she did not forgive me for that. So during my PhD, I went home trying to patch things up with my mother. And during a family reunion dinner, my mother, in front of all the relatives and cousins, shamed me and made false accusation of how I paid for my school. Those accusations wasn't true, but the humiliation was so painful to bear. With everything that was happening in school, the pressure in school and the betrayal at home, I could not cope and I fell into depression. I was on Prozac and I was on counseling 1 to 2 times a week, and that lasted about 2 to 3 years until I graduated from my program. The medication did help me, but it came with a side effect. I gained 25 pounds. For somebody who was already struggling with body image, it was very difficult, and I felt like I was losing myself inside and out. There were days that I just felt like I wasn't strong enough to continue. I felt like did not have the strength to continue. I doubted that I was able to keep going and I was worthy enough. And here's what I learned. Depression doesn't mean you are weak. It means that you have been strong for a long time without enough support. And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to need help. Counseling and medication did not make me any less. It gave me the stability to keep going. Even though it came with challenges, they gave me time to heal. Eventually, I did graduate, not on the timeline that others wanted, not without scars. But with the PhD, I have fought for with every ounce of courage and strength that I had. Later, when I started modeling, walking on the runway, it was the same body that carried me through depression, the body that gained weight, the body that I once thought was not enough that walked proudly on the runway. If you are in a dark season right now, hear this. You're not broken. You are not a failure. Needing help doesn't make you any less. It just makes you human. And sometimes the bravest things we could do is simply to just do not give up. Thank you for letting me share part of this journey with you. If my story touched you, please share with someone who needs to be told that they are not alone. If my story resonates with you, please like, subscribe, and I hope to see you at the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.